for it, yeah. We're here for it, yeah. We're here for it, yeah. We're here for it, yeah.
Hey Grace, welcome to the SheHH Podcast.
Oh my gosh, I'm so happy to be here. Good to see you,
Thank you
Paula.
for being here. Thank you so much. I'm so excited because we've just had a little chat just before hitting record, and it's been good. So I feel like this is going to be a lively one. Even though I've already said I'm very tired and low energy today. You are bringing the energy for us, so we'll keep it going. We'll keep it going. But I would love for you to please introduce yourself to the podcast. Who are you? What do you do? Let us know.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, my name is Grace. I try to embody that best I can. I sing, I write songs, I lead worship, and I feel like I try take the world's hand and then the church's hand and then just stand in the middle and just sing to everybody. And that's kind of what I feel like I do, and a bit of what I'm about, and what I also enjoy, and what I feel like I'm supposed to be doing, I guess. Hopefully, I guess, right? That's the hope.
That's the hope. That's so poetic, because in your Instagram bio, you actually say, and like all your socials, you say a soundtrack for the everyday believer. So that kind of does give you the imagery of holding hands with two sides and kind of being that connector. But I'd love to kind of pick your brain as to when you were putting that phrase or tagline together, what was your thinking behind it?
Probably first off, sounded real smooth. You
were like, bars.
I was like, should it be in a song or should it be the motto? I don't know. Honestly, that's definitely the first part. I mean, I think I struggled with how to say something. I mean, I came from music in a non-Christian kind of setting, and so I struggled with I wasn't really going to put a Bible verse necessarily. That wasn't really going to be my personal thing as an artist and the kind of music that I make. So I was trying to find language that would make sense, that would point at this is a soundtrack, because it does feel like a soundtrack. And then also it does feel like an everyday, I want, if I'm singing with you on a Sunday, I also want you to have things to listen to on a Monday. And so yeah, so it seemed like a good phrase. I think I started though, man, that's 5 years. I was still baby. I don't even know if I knew what I was really talking about. But I was an everyday believer. That's me. That works. And so yeah, it's funny. Piece it together a little bit like that, I guess.
I love that you said soundtrack, because I always think about moments happening in life of the music in the background, crying on the bus with the tears and a soundtrack to that and everything. And you very much make music for those moments.
Yeah.
Very much so.
Yeah.
I would love for you to maybe share what the central message of your music is. I know it would have changed over the 5+ years you've been doing this, but what is the central message you try and pump into the songs?
Yeah, I mean, that's such a great question, because it does change. It does change and it does evolve. I think there's a few that all kind of circle around again, this idea of grace, that we continuously fall into God's hands over and over and over again. There's no striving, that there's nothing to be accomplished before you get there. I think that there's also a level of belonging, coming holy and unashamed into God's presence. I think that that aspect of our humanity and reconciling that with divinity can be hard for a lot of us, to feel we have to be right and perfect and good all the time. And that was Jesus's job. That's something that we can learn and grow in, that we're led in, but at the end of the day, we also come fully as people, with a whole lot going on inside and outside. So I think the main thing with all of that to say would be this idea of really just showing up, and knowing that you are loved as you are, without even if you never grew and never got any better, all your things that you think are wrong with you stayed wrong with you, that wouldn't change love. So I think that's one of the main things. I think it's also because it's one of the main things that I need to hear, I need to listen to. I think a lot of times we get these things that we're as writers and ministers, we kind of are this is what I need and what God needs to pump into me. So it's naturally the messages that I'm getting in my personal time. So it's therefore coming out in my music. So I think that's why the project Saving Grace felt like it came together that way. And it's so personal. It's so bedroom like worship and moments, because that's where it started, was that idea of like, no, I love you. Stop trying to fix yourself without coming to me. Like I love you. Just chill. Yeah.
But it's always like from that, isn't it? Like it's always Jesus using a vessel to teach the vessel, if that makes sense. Like even like what the Bible talks about, using what the world calls foolish to like dumbfound the wise. I love that scripture because it's actually just like almost letting you off the hook for being the thing that's teaching yourself, if that makes sense. Like your experience is lived in and experienced, and then lived so other people can learn.
No, and that's where you like, I think that we have to have so much compassion for ourselves to be actively learning those lessons, and then to turn around in our art or in our language, like in our podcasts, to then like turn around and like let God do his thing through what we've been learning and what we've been stewarding, because that's not easy. We like, it's not there. It's not. So I think that's like really well said. Like I love that.
I'm glad you thought that was well said, because I felt like I was talking to myself. I had a vision.
We have the vision. Yes, I feel that.
But even on that same vein, like according to Spotify, you've been doing music for the last 5 years, since 2020. And I would love to kind of share a bit more about that musical journey. So coming from, I've just come to know the Lord. I'm releasing music. I'm releasing music that I need, and I'm being blessed by, and I'm being taught by, and I'm being ministered to, and I'm also being nurtured by, to the point where you're accepting or even comfortable sharing that vulnerability with the world. I just said loads of things, but please just talk about your musical journey so far.
No, that's such a great point, and such a great question. So for myself, I started writing these songs mainly just because I was all of a sudden in like a faith environment. I was like all of a sudden kind of going to church and like exploring that. And I was very adamant in what I believed to be God that I was talking to, being like, I'm not sure if you're real, but just a heads up, like I'm not singing here. I'm not writing songs here. I literally said that. I literally was like, I'm sitting at the back. I don't want anybody to know me. Like I am not doing this. That didn't last long. And it was very much a God thing where I felt the like, no, like that's actually not the thing for you. To the point that it became uncomfortable for me to enjoy going to service. It became uncomfortable for me to like not write with faith infused like lyrics. So the title track for the project Saving Grace was just because I was like, well, I've been going to church from, I think it was probably like a year maybe. And I grew up Catholic, so I wasn't like super far off from having some sort of basis of religion or Christianity, but I definitely like had been away from the church and that idea, and was very much like against religion for about like, I want to say like 5-6 years, as like a teenager. And I just thought it was hilarious that my name was Grace, because that's all we talk about. And so I was like, oh, I have to write a song with my name in it. Like, that's so funny. So I wrote like Saving Grace. I like barely remember writing it, like 10 minutes or less. And like, I think I like, since writing it, we added like the tag at the end, but like didn't touch any of the lyrics. I had no idea what the song was about. I didn't get it. I didn't understand it. I just thought it was funny. I literally like, I didn't like, it was one of those crazy, like in and out sort of things. And so then I had the song kind of in my back pocket, but I had a lot of other stuff I was writing. And then my group called Maverick City Music kind of came onto the scene, and a friend of mine sent me Real Thing before Real Thing blew up, like before everybody knew. Like we were like, they I think had like under like 100K followers on Instagram. This was beginning stages of what we now know to be Maverick City. And I saw that they did writing camps, and I got this like pit in my stomach, and I was like, I don't want to do this. Please, you're wrong. Like, this is not, I'm feeling things I shouldn't feel. Like, this is not, I don't write Christian music. And anyways, I ended up getting connected with them and ended up showing Saving Grace to a few folks, and they were like, this is really special. Like, you're doing something that's like different and special. And again, was still like, I don't do this, but thank you. And then started getting into worshiping more and leading out more. Cause again, it was just all of a sudden, like, these are the people that I was hanging with. And like, this is what it felt like was the right next thing. And like, nothing was really ever trying to like go for something. It was just like, this is really like, it's uncomfortable for me to not listen to like what's happening. And every time I try and say no and walk away, like, it just doesn't work out. So then I was really confident that I would be a songwriter, that I would be writing songs behind the scenes. I was like, I'll sell all my songs. Y'all, everyone can take them. Like, it's cool. Like, I don't need to sing them. Then people were asking like, hey, would you lead worship and do stuff? And I'm like, this stresses me out, but like, I'll try. And then, so then it kind of fast forwarded to like, I wasn't able to stay in the States forever and do stuff because I'm Canadian. So I ended up back in Canada. The governments were like, figure this out, Grace. You can't do this all the time. And then I had a mentor of mine. This is long-winded, but you asked the question. So I had a mentor of mine. It was a long 5 years, guys. So I had a mentor of mine. Then like, she was like, because I was back in Ottawa and I was kind of bummed. I was like, yo, like, I thought I was going to have like a job and like I'd be writing. And like, I feel now like everything's like gone. Like, I don't know what I'm doing anymore. Like, I thought I was saying yes to all these open doors. I don't know. Like, maybe I did something wrong. I don't know. A mentor of mine gave me like 4 or 5 months. And then she was like, you need to figure this out. I was like teaching elementary school, like emergency supply teaching. Like, I was nannying. I was like, I don't know. Like, I'm still writing. She was like, you have enough of these songs, which is the Saving Grace album. Like, apply for a grant, because we've got some great grants here in Canada, the arts and culture grants. Just apply for a grant, move to Toronto, and then just like do it. Within a month of her saying that, I was moving to Toronto, applied for the grant, ended up getting the grant to do the album. And I was like, okay, guess I do this now. I guess I'm going to release these songs, and that's what this is going to be. And so it's funny, like, it's not really until the album got released, like, we're talking now, so the album's been out for a little bit now, and it's really not until the album was out that I was like, I'm an artist now, right? Like, that's what I do now. And like, that's after like 5-6 years of writing and singing. And I've been gigging longer. Like, I've been singing in like bars, clubs, this, that, and the other, writing since I was like, like 13, 14 kind of like situations, like I've been representing my own name and coming out and having whatever, all this stuff. But it really wasn't until like last summer where I was like, so God, like, am I an artist now? Is that what we're doing? Like, are we doing this? He's like, yeah, child, like, yeah, like, this is what we're doing. Like, so I'm so thick. I'm so slow. For any slow listeners, any thick, stubborn listeners, it's okay. We can all get there. We can.
God is really patient with us, honestly. He's really patient.
Honestly, really patient. So that's kind of how that all happened. It really was just like one foot in front of the other. I'm going to do the next thing that I think I should do. If it doesn't work out, I guess it's not working out. What's the next thing that somebody's coming along to tell me what I should do next? Like, I'm like, yeah, and the whole time terrified, right? Like, just the whole time halfway between overconfident and insecure and scared, right? Like, there's no in between. So yeah, that's kind of how this all kind of started, middle, ending, keep going. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that, because the way you've described it, as much as you were like, oh, it's a long story, it also feels like very much an overnight thing, which I know it wasn't, but just kind of seeing how opportunities came and you were willing, even if you said it scared, you said the yes and you did it, is how a lot of artists start. And it's so funny that you're saying like, it's this project being released, they're like, wait, I do music. That's my, when someone's like, hey, what do you do? You're like, an artist? Do you like whisper it? Like, yeah, I make music.
And they're like, where can I find your music? I'm like, Spotify. They're like, oh, really? And I'm like,
oh, really?
Yeah.
You're real.
Yeah. I'm like, really? Can you? I'm like, if you tune into like some of the Christian radio stations in Canada, like some of the they're like, wow, like, so you really do this? I'm like, like, I'm surprised every time.
That must be so infuriating. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I am one of those fans that's like, oh, like, really? Like, oh, so what do you do? Gigs, and I sing at shows. Oh, cute. Oh, wow. What's that like on weekends and after work?
I'm like, yeah, no, it's literally like, it really is like so wild how we balance all of that and just like yeah, and just the conversations that we have when we're in ministry and like arts and culture, and how those conversations like are framed and shaped, and like, yeah, it's like, it's really something. Yeah.
No, but I thank God that you still say that yes and you still do it though, because yeah, you said it's somewhere between overconfident and scared, but it takes a lot to like actually take the Lord's yes and do it. But I want to talk a bit more about the style of music. I do have questions about specific songs, and you've already started sharing some of the story about Saving Grace, which I have some questions about. But you describe your music as a fusion between gospel / CCM. And for people who don't know what CCM is, I'm a big fan of explaining acronyms. Christian contemporary music, and then pop and R&B as well. But I'd love for you to describe how you found that sound. You said you've been singing and gigging since a teenager. So how have you developed that Grace Marr sound, and is it different from when you were younger?
Yeah, man, do you know what? It's funny. Like, I think one of the gifts that I'm trying to realize that I was given, and I do feel like it's a gift now, as much as I had a lot of like early on, I wanted to sing in church growing up, like at my parish. I wanted to do it, but like no one ever wanted me to. Like, it was like there was always like you can join the children's choir. I was like, nah, I want to stand next to Steve in his 60s with his acoustic guitar and sing in Latin. Like, I don't want the children's choir stuff. Like, I don't want to do it. Like, I wanted to now, like, what I would recognize is like, I wanted to lead worship. Like, I wanted to sing, and I wanted to sing in contemporary styles, not in like a choir. And there just wasn't the opportunity for that. But one of the things that I think was a gift was like, I then not seeing, and also just personality wise, man, like I got piercings, tattoos. I've and that's like, I love it. But I never also like maybe felt the most comfortable around other religious people. And I think the blessing of that rejection, or that feeling of rejection, I should say, because nobody really rejected me. They were like, you can do stuff. I just was like, nah, it's not what I want. And so, but that feeling of rejection led to discovering other genres. Like, I was forced to find music and find this artistic expression and hone craft in a different way. So like, in ways that I'm probably like, I would say like I am learning now in the Christian spaces, like I have other gains in my musicality maybe, or the way that I express myself. So like my mom, for example, we had like 3 radio stations in Ottawa. We had Hot 89.9, Kiss FM, and Magic 100. Now, Hot 89.9 had like Black Eyed Peas. And my mom's an elementary school teacher, and she was like, I don't like this for my children. She just was like, she knew what the lyrics were. We didn't know. We were like, somebody call 911, right? Shot shooting fire burning on that, right? Like, we were like, this is great. Like, this is fire. I'm loving all LMFAO, like all of that, right? She was like, no. So we listened to Magic 100. Magic 100 was like the soft pop. It was like adult contemporary R&B. You had TLC, Alicia Keys, Michael Bublé, and Adele. So it was like this like soulful-ish mix of like R&B, pop, adult. It's like Shania Twain was there, but even Shania Twain has like some grit to her. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's just a little something there. So a lot of the people that I grew up listening to and looking up to were these like powerhouse, heavy hitter, like, again, like either soulful pop, adult contemporary, or like R&B. Same thing, like when like I would want to go for runs, like I ended up like, you kind of have 2 choices. You listen to EDM, you listen to hip hop. I didn't like the synthy sounds. I just didn't like them. I love EDM artists. I think it's super great. I have a lot more understanding of it now. But when I was like going for a run in like middle school, high school, whatever, just like doing my thing, like I was listening to like Drake. I was listening to like when Kendrick started coming. I was listening to hip hop more than I was going to be listening to EDM, just because that's what I liked. I like the live sounds. I like the musicality of it. So I feel like some of those genre bending was a lot of just like, it was a combination of a lot of different things. But ultimately, like, again, like just like that live warm sound, these like really big, like kind of like R&B and pop artists, the feeling of like grooves and how they make you feel, it just kind of became natural. And then when I kind of got to high school, I started playing with like some of the bigger bands in town, and like were like jazz or like funk oriented, or like they were like college students who were finishing their degree or had just finished their degree in jazz. And then I was in high school, and because I could sing, like I would hop on and like sing some stuff with them. And so you'd have like a horn section, you'd have all that. And it was like, so my style's definitely changed and has been impacted, like as different artists come out and do things. I'm like, oh, I like what they're doing. Oh, I have a new favorite. Like, oh, I'm loving what this person's doing. But I think that some of those core foundational elements are still fairly present. This like, yeah, this love of like folk and songwriting and the, like, yeah, let's just end it there. That I feel like that's encompasses some of that like sound and where that came from.
Yeah, and I think in the album especially you can hear the different like genres song to song, even some within the actual song. There's like shifts and stuff like that, and there's a real musicality that is not confined to like one specific genre. And I know a lot of artists don't love genres. They're really useful for fans like us who just want to understand, but I think a lot of the time when you guys are musical artists who appreciate how music can be crafted, you don't want to be confined to a genre, and I completely understand that. And I think this album specifically does demonstrate that, because you have like one song that's like a contemporary Christian contemporary worship song, and then you've got gospel vocals with it sounding like a choir with layered vocals, and then you've got like a beat in the background, and you've got a guitar, and I'm like, yeah, you know, like just really going for it, loving it, because every song is so different. And I think there is something really beautiful about that tells us a story of musicality over time, because this doesn't sound like grace of just right now. It sounds like grace over time. And we will jump into the music, I promise. I'm teasing it, but we're before I go into your own music, we definitely can't skip over your success as a songwriter. And now knowing that you said you had an interest in like, okay, maybe I would just do the songwriting route, which I don't know what your opinion on this is. It might be a bit controversial, I'm going to say. I feel like there are not enough Christian songwriters. I think we just need some people in the scene that just write some really good songs and write for people, because we have some incredible artists who just need people to write great songs for them. That's my opinion.
Here's my thing. First of all, I don't know why that would be controversial. If it is, I don't know. Because my thing is like, I've been loving, obviously the SheHH podcast. And I've also been loving Lecrae's podcast too. And he does a really good job at talking about this, because your accountant doesn't need to be Christian for you to get advice on your taxes, right? And I feel like what a bonus and what a blessing it is, and it could be, for like Christian artists to be like, and Christian writers coming in and using their strength, their knowledge, their skill set, their craft to like just do the job and just see how like God can be glorified also like behind the scenes. Like people don't see those sides of the stories, like, and it's so I'm with it. Like I'm definitely in a phase right now where I'm balancing both. I'm like actively writing for other people's projects, and Christian, not Christian, and then also writing for mine, because like I still write songs about like love songs, like why don't they like me back? Oh, like come on, like what? Like I'm gonna like how do I say? The Bible is full of people's stories, and God is in the stories, but usually like we like the stories for the part also that leads up to God. Like we are in those stories and we get something from them. Yes, like we emphasize and rightly emphasize the part where God comes in. But all the other lead up is like so important and valuable, and it's how we see ourselves in these stories. It's how we relate to the Bible. So like my thought with some of this stuff, and like I'm with you, is like you're gonna get to God. You're in me and what I do. But I'm also gonna let you know that there are journeys and there are stories here, and you're gonna get to God with me. You will, but maybe you might have to listen through a few songs. You might have to go through the Instagram. You know, like let's go on this together for the fullness of what being human and walking with Christ looks like. So I'm with you. I am with you. I love songwriting, and I love doing it. Whatever the people need to express, like let's express. You know? I
mean, I might have been like over the top by saying controversial, but I think a lot of people who find they're excellent at songwriting then think they have to be artists. And I think I wish there was more of an avenue for providing like careers and opportunities for people where they solely write incredible songs for people. Because I think that is a way that you can do ministry. I think that's a way that God can bless you. And I think that's a way that you can actually use the fullness of your gifts and talents and be blessed through that and bless other people. Because I mean, this also might be because I'm the type of person, I'm the type of fan. So my husband's an artist. So I'm the type of fan where I go on people's Spotify's and I read their like song credits.
Yes, I do. No, same. I'm like, who wrote this? Especially when it's good. I'm like, who did this? Who did this? Victoria Monet again? Who did this?
And I start Googling like everything they've ever done. And honestly, I'm like that. So I'm like, I love it because I think, and this is what SheHH is about. Yes, we encourage the artists at the front, but you know, the managers, the writers, the producers in the background, because they are part of what God is doing in this industry through the music. And so, I think as much as I want to like shout about the music you have released, I really do want to encourage you and to encourage people listening with the success you've had as a songwriter. And that might have been behind the scenes and it might just be in the Spotify song credits that we see your name. But I want you to talk a bit about, I mean, you touched a little bit about being a part of Maverick City Music back in the day and writing for them. You actually wrote on where would I be? There we go. Where would I be?
Yeah.
With Ryan Offey as well, with Maverick City Music is on one of their albums. And I went and then I was like, let's go see our girl Grace. And I went on the song and it was like Grace right in the middle. And I was like, I know her. And I didn't even know you yet, but please tell me how that came about. And you actually were recently back in LA, like doing some writing with them. So please talk through that.
Yeah, it's funny. We did a lot of Zoom writes during COVID, and that was one of the songs to come out of it. And it's funny because at one point it was like we were there in person for some stuff. It was like, is it going to be on the Jubilee record? And then they ended up doing it on the tribals like anthologies, which I was stoked about because it meant that Brandon got to hop on and sing it. Like, and that wouldn't have happened from my understanding. I don't think that would have happened on the previous record. And like, I mean, I sing so much of Brandon stuff now. Like on Sundays, it's like my repertoire is like Brandon, like literally all my MDs are just like praise, again, gratitude. Like, let's just slide that in there. And so I really love that. And that was like, so that's just been also just like fun. And again, one of those like moments where you say like, like when you really let yourself kind of in your gifts, just you lay them open and you're open with them, like they can be a blessing to you too. And they can be a blessing to other people and through other people. So it was just like, it just got picked up. I think like, I feel like Dante actually heard it first. We were like singing it and he was like, oh, I like that melody. I feel like he might've been the one to be like, I want to do, I think, if I remember correctly. And then I ended up doing another camp with Tribal and getting reconnected with them a few months ago. So been just like hanging and like, you know, we've like can't say much, but we've been working on some stuff and reconnecting with the fam, and that's been like really sweet and like really beautiful and also just like super timely. So like really, really grateful for that. And also just like been cheering, like they've obviously done so much we talked about the genres. They've done so much for the genres of worship and gospel and Christian and contemporary, and just seeing like what, again, these next, what like who's coming out. Can this sound different? Yeah, it can sound different. We're cool with that. Cool. Like it's really beautiful. So yeah.
That's amazing. Oh, I love that. And I'm so glad like you did something recently and it's not like a one-time thing. I love that it's continuing. I also saw on the bio, and I had to put this one in. This is for the old heads like, well, the old heads like me. I'm a young'un, but for the ones like me who were alive in the 90s, but the one and only legend, been working for 30 plus years. That's 3 decades. I've not even been alive for 30 years.
I know.
The one and only Rodney Darkchild Jenkins.
I know.
Especially if you're young, if you're watching this,
Darkchild.
Everybody think Destiny's Child, think Justin Bieber, think everybody. He's produced and written and been a part of all your secular and Christian favorites. Back in the day, he had this track with Mary. That was
yes.
How did that come about? Like, how did you end up working with him, writing with him?
Yeah, I ended up writing with Rodney. Like, and it's wild though because now he's got like a gospel Christian label, right?
Yeah.
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 I recently saw that. I was just like, dude, love this for you. Yeah, I was part of a group. So they brought like 10 Canadians over into like Rodney's like house to like write with him and produce with his team. So it was super, super fun. It was like this like LA meets like Toronto camp. Ended up writing a song with him that was like wild because he like posted on his like Instagram too. And like Kaylani had commented at one point on it. So anyway, so that song's been sitting in the vault, but I think it was supposed to go to somebody. And anyway, so it's like, yeah, we worked on one tune that I still love. Like I feel like I signed something saying I can't sing it out loud, otherwise I would. But we worked on this one tune that like I still love. I'm like, which I again like I hope that it finds ears. It's been like I've heard rumors and things through the cracks of it finding like certain artists, which I would like freak out. I'll DM you. I'll be like, what happened? They're doing it. This is a song. But yeah, Rodney's just a legend. His whole family, beautiful. Had a chance to meet his kids and like I think we like hung out with the dog. Like they're just like beautiful people, great people. Rodney is awesome. And that was obviously just like, are we here? Like, is this happening? It was as wild as you'd think. It was like very like, whoa. Yeah.
That must be such a career affirming moment. Like, you know, when you have those days when you're like questioning, am I like, obviously, you know, you get the motivation from the Lord and it's good to know that God is pleased by what you do. But sometimes you're just like, you know, and then you remember like, hey, even, you know, people around can see what God has deposited in me. And it reminds you, I mean, even Rodney being a Christian, I think does help with that as well, because there's a knowledge of he also ultimately serving the same God as you. Yeah. So, yeah, when I saw that, I was like, is that a typo? I was like, I don't know how you guys spelled Rodney incorrectly. Like, what?
Are we sure about this? No. What's crazy too is my friend, one of my like my sisters in life had DM'd me the day that camp submission, like it was like through people. I don't know how she saw it. She was like, submit to this. I shout her out because like she didn't end up getting to go that one, and then they ended up canceling the next one, but that was supposed to go to another like super producer. But I ended up getting in, and I think I like had like I don't even know if I had like 10 minutes to spare on the deadline. Like it was one of those things where like, and I was so like I was making songs in my room. Like these were not high quality. These were like, I have to emphasize like voice memos. When you say like God saw something, the other people are seeing things. It's like they're seeing the diamond in the rough. Like it was emphasizing the rough, you know? So I think it also like it is true. Like I think we can finesse stuff and we can like build things up to a certain place and like get good, this, that, and whatever, and good in the eyes of people, but that's fine. But at the end of the day, like that rawness and that intrigue, like that will carry you. And if you let that shine through and you kind of go back to basics sometimes, like God uses that, like, cause that's that part that's like, even you're not really that great yet. You know what I mean? You're not that good. Like I was good, but like it was that thing that people see. And that always goes farther than all the fluff and the things we work on and practice on. We get good so that we can show up without being scared. But it's that something that God lets people see. It's true that ends up taking you into rooms that you otherwise have zero right to be in other than your birthright, you know? So yeah, very fun. That's not a typo, but should be like God, like
not a typo. That's gonna be my new thing. Not a typo. It actually happened.
Not a typo. It actually happened. Yeah.
I love that though. And I love what you said about it being that God thing in you that like takes you, like you're in those rooms and imposter syndrome is like, hello, are you lost? And then you're like, wait, no, like it's God. It's God. Yeah. And I love that you also said like get good. So it's not like, oh, it's God, so I'm gonna like bring the worst. I'm gonna still bring my best, but it's God. It's God, you know. It
is.
I definitely had to bring this one as well because I am a huge Reach Records fan. I still to this day, it's actually kind of I'm such a nerdy music fan, but to the day I remember August 2012, I discovered Lecrae and I discovered Christian hip hop. So I didn't mean that to sound so dramatic.
No,
But
it is dramatic. It is dramatic.
I
That's a dramatic
discovered
moment.
Christian hip hop for the first time in my life. And I was like, what is this? Like SheHH, this is a whole new world. And so for me, Reach Records always has like a special place in my heart. And you've written and done some work with them too.
Yeah. No.
Talk about that.
Like, yeah, that was another crazy thing where I was at a camp. This was all like, I don't know if this was, this was like 2021, and they all kind of blur in those early, I feel like it was 2021. And I was at another writing camp, and a really incredible producer has like also like very like genre bending, like working with incredible artists like of all capacities, also like the hand in the hand, like holding everybody's hand. Just amazing guy, beautiful faith. And his name's Taylor Hill. And he was at that camp, and he kind of heard me doing some stuff, or we were friends with someone else, and we started writing a little thing. And my friend was saying like, no, like Grace like does this, like no, like, you know what I mean? Because it's like you get into the worship world, and like this is what I was saying, like I'm still growing. I feel confident in my skill set, but I'm still growing into these new genres for me, and this idea of what it means to write like congregationally, what it means to write like maybe like easier, like bigger kind of, like that's not where I'm coming from as an artist, right? But it's also why things might sound kind of cool sometimes, you know, because it doesn't sound like, you know. And so she was like, no, like this is Grace's world. Like she would be good for this camp you're talking about. He's like, okay, we're doing a Reach Records camp. And I was like, shut the front door. You're not. Like, he was like, I want you to come. And I was like, so like turned around. I think I was in Atlanta, went back to Ottawa or Toronto. Don't know where I was. One of those places. And then I went back like 2 weeks, 3 weeks later to Reach Records. Great people. Awesome people. Tadashi. Oh my gosh, the heart of like gorgeous human being. And like it's so small, but I remember like the bathroom had tampons in it. And then we're a women in worship like podcast, right? So let's just say shout out to Lecrae and his whole team for like acknowledging and like doing that, because like when you're in the studios and you're working, like it can be so male dominant, but like everybody, it was a mixed bag. We had everybody in the room, all sorts of different backgrounds, all sorts of different expressions. Like it was so lovely. But yeah, I just remember the bathrooms had tampons, and I was like, this is my place. And yeah, so that was like also just like a super, super great time. Same thing, like another song that's like been in the vault and been kind of sprinkled around, and like, and we'll see like where things end up. Like you never know. You write these songs and like you just know that like again, like God's got a timing on stuff. But yeah, and just beautiful people and a great time. So good.
I love that. And I love that you mentioned the whole thing about the tampons, because the funny thing, so I talk about this a lot on Reach, about Reach, because Anneke at the time one day was was actually episode 1 of the SheHH podcast back. I know. Yeah. So at that point, she hadn't even been signed by Reach. So who are the tampons for? It's like just the employee. And I think the fact that they just had that already showed their like care and love towards women, because they didn't even have women on the roster, you know, beyond employees at the company.
No, yeah. Like I can't remember if she had just been signed, but it was still like within that gap. You're absolutely right. Like it was like, yeah, just being so mindful of like who's around and like making it a safe and like really vibey space. Yeah. And also, yes, I saw that and was like, oh, I'm obsessed.
I know, like, that was so good.
So good.
Okay, let's actually talk about your music. So that'd be good. You know, you got a lot to go through, because 2024 was a good year for you. 2024, Grace Marr, yeah, really good year. We have debut album, bonus album, EP, according to Spotify, all in 2024. So you were working, but it sounds like you had songs and it was just kind of nurturing those songs and getting them ready to be released. But I love that kind of came to a head at 2024. So we have loads to talk about, and we have loads of like renditions or breakdowns of where things fitted in. But I was going to start with Saving Grace. You did talk a little bit about how the song was written, but I have a little bit of a spiel, so please bear with. So starting with Saving Grace.
Yeah.
First of all, what a song. Wow. It's actually, according to Spotify, currently your best performing song, despite it also not being a single that you prior released. It was just the title track. And obviously that has something to do with being title track, and probably because it's fun being a part of your name, and Saving Grace, and your name's Grace, and how it feels, relatable in that way, and your name being Grace being one of the pinnacle parts of our faith. But vocally as well, I think it was so beautifully put together. I think it's a great song for someone to listen to you for the first time, as in the first song they hear from you is Saving Grace, because I think, taking as much as we love God, also just vocally, I think it shows your range incredibly. I think it also shows your songwriting really well. So it's interesting to hear that you were actually younger when you wrote it. And then obviously spiritually as well, I think there is a real story of redemption and grace written into the song that is felt from first listen. I know you touched a bit earlier in the interview about the song, but I would love for you to talk a bit more about the song and why you ended up making it the title song, the name of the album, and really running with that metaphor beyond just this song.
Yeah, man, I mean, like, I am one of my MDs and collaborators. He's funny. He like, we did like Noah's Ark this past week. So he was like, we're doing oceans. Like, and he's just like, I'm not trying to work that hard. Like, I'm just not. And I think about it sometimes because like, it's so simple, but it truly was like, if I'm going to put out all of this music and do what I want to do with it, and what I feel like I need to do with it, this song was the first Christian song that I ever really like put my like kind of like my stakes in. Was like, and I played it at as I said, at a writing camp, and I mean, it was like, I'm not from this world originally. I keep saying that, but to emphasize, like, so I didn't know who Osby was. Like Marianne, George, like MJ's beautiful people, all these beautiful people. I didn't really like know or understand. I was like, House Fires is cool, Yeah, like the songs are dope. Like, but again, like I really like am not the most starstruck maybe person. I don't know if that's a good thing or bad thing. I don't do my research on people. Like my mom's calling me like, this person was Grammy when I'm like, I don't have to go. Like, I don't know. Like, I really just don't research people very well. And that's a good thing. Sometimes I'm unprepared for it, but sometimes I also think it's a good thing because it's just, I'm like taking people at face value. So I had those people there and they were singing along to Saving Grace. And I was playing it on an acoustic, and let's be honest, like I don't play guitar the best. And I was just playing my little 4 chords and just singing the chorus over it. And the feedback from it was so strong. Like I kind of never forgot. It was like, oh, this is like a special song. Like, like this is like important. Like I should at least have a demo of it or something. So it was a combination of it's special. And then I didn't want to work that hard. Like my name is Grace. It's a pun. Let's not overcomplicate this. Like it was just from the beginning. It was like, if I'm going to put out a project and it's going to be cross genre and I'm stepping into the worship in the faith world, while also really I don't want to leave behind. And I also want to acknowledge the beauty of just secular expression and what that can mean. And if I'm going to do that, it's going to be called Saving Grace. Like, that's just what it has to be. Like, there's no other way. That's clearly what needs to happen. So I didn't think about it like at all. It was just like special pun, saving me, saving grace. Cool. Like, let's rock with it. Let's see how far we can take that. So yeah, I didn't think much about it, Paula.
I also do love that it's saving, like it's like a continuous, is that continuous present according to, I don't know, linguistics, because it could be save grace or saved grace or, but it's like a continuous ongoing.
It's that, well, that's what it is. And that's the falling. We're just over and over again. It's not falling bad. It's just like falling into love. It's like a trust fall. Like it's that kind of falling. I'm not talking about like you tripped over and you fell. which I do. We do that in our lives, like fine. But that's no, it's the fact that there is somebody there to help you back up. There's somebody there to catch you. There's like, you're never like, your knee's never too skinned to come back into the game. You're good, you know? So yeah, no, the continuous. I love that you've mentioned that because it's true. It doesn't end. I keep trying. As I said, Paula, I've tried to get to first like the end or the pinnacle of salvation, or what do you call it? The becoming more like Christ. It starts with an S, another S.
Sanctification.
Word. Thank you, sanctification. I keep trying to arrive. I don't though. We don't arrive there. We just keep going. There's still more. So yeah, again, lessons have been learned clearly in the making of this album.
There's a word behind that for sure.
Yep.
And even I do want to go into the next song, but even like the cover art of the hands. I don't know if that's Saving Grace or the
no. It's both of them. It's both of them.
Okay.
It's both of them.
The hands.
Yo, if I can really, really quick, I'll keep it so short, but like, because yeah, definitely want to talk more about the other music, but like, I had this in my head because this is where I love the God and Adam painting, but I'm like, Eve is also present in this. And so what we wanted to do with album art, what I wanted to do with album art was like to have my like female friends, like we have our nails done or not done. I've got like a friend of mine, like on the second one, she's got tattoos covered. Like my other friends like playing God, she got her like long pink nails. And I wanted to show this like feminine, like painting and picture of like this divine and human connection. We actually got kicked out of the first place that we shot because it was like an indoor garden. So they like came in and we were trying to get the shot and they were like, you can't be in here. And like, so my photographer I was like, just keep going, just almost like just angle. And the guy's like, you have to leave now, like over us as we're like taking the photo. We're like, sorry, we didn't know we had to get a permit. Like, you know, like we're just like doing the thing. Or like, so sorry. I'm so sorry. My name is Grace. I just didn't know. We're just doing a cover. He's like, you're in the way of people. We're like, anyways, it was fine. We came out unscathed. But yeah, that cover, the way it came together, like meant a lot to me. And kind of just showcasing that. Yeah.
No, I'm glad you touched on that because from the conversation from the beginning, when you had that image or you explained the image of the hands and like bridging between the two, I think it automatically made sense about the cover art. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, please go check it out on Spotify because we don't give enough love and credits to cover art these days. Like we need to bring back good cover art.
Come on.
But okay, we're gonna go on to Holy with 3 Ys always. Yeah, such a beautiful song, a lovely song of adoration of God's holiness. It's so funny because actually on Sunday we talked about God's holiness in the service and it was phenomenal. There was such a weightiness, such a weightiness of God in that room, like people on the floor, just in just an awareness of God's holiness. And I think that's why when I listened to this song as I was preparing for this interview, I was just like, yeah, this is it. I would love for you to talk about this song. So this is off your Saving Grace to Be Set Apart album. I would love to, we will talk more about why you did this like album bonus thing in a bit, but speaking about this song, it being a very much church song. This is a song you sing in church. This is a choir song. This is a repeat as many times as you can song. And you saying you didn't come from that world, I'd love for you to explain why you wrote something like this.
Yeah, it's funny. So God and I had been trying to write Holy for 4 or 5 years. I actually got really mad because I was starting to write a song for Justin Bieber called Holy Holy, and it had Holy Holy Hold Me, like his same lyric that he ended up releasing. So I started writing that song, being like, maybe I can pitch it to Justin. Then he released Holy with Chance the Rapper later on in that year with the same lyrics that I had down. And I was so mad. I was so frustrated. And I had written different versions of this idea of like that kind of holiness, like being hold holy, and then like had another, like a bunch of versions on like worship and basically the like, what do you call it? That tune where I'm coming back to the heart of worship, right? And that idea of like like, what does this really mean? And again, for someone like me who's coming into this, I mean, I'm not super late in the game, but like, I did not, again, like musically, I'm coming from a few places, but I also like love worship and I love God. And I spent a lot of time chatting with him, and adoring him. And so Holy, I've been trying to write it for a long time. And I think I can't even remember. We released this bonus album in November. Sat with my writing partner, my MD, who doesn't want to try too hard. We've been writing and working a bunch, and he is Anglican. I do a lot of work in the Anglican church and a lot of leading out. And he was like, he's got these hymn chords like nobody's business, you know, just from that like exposure and that type of musicality. But he's also a crazy funk bass player, and like also will just like tear you up on bass and keys and just like it's so good. So he just like, we were like, we should write a hymn today. Like we should just try and write a modern day hymn. Like let's just try, you know. We tried one. It was like, okay, came back in, and I don't know. I just was like, let's just do something with holy. And then it just started the holy, holy, holy. And then he caught it like the holy, holy, holy. We sing you are holy, holy is our God. And then it was just like, where do we go from here? Like it just was super seamless. Yeah, super seamless. And it was one of those things where like, you know, and he was really great at pushing back even on like some of my original lyric choices. It took me a while. It took me like a few weeks to kind of get them to sit, because I write so much from first person or from God's perspective versus it maybe necessarily being congregational, this like how do we get there? And one of the things that we've been working on just in our ministry is like, how do we, like I musically have maybe more of an evangelical or Pentecostal style of like leading. However, like not every congregation needs that, or that's their expression. And trying to find that middle place of like, how do we encourage people who like, they don't really sing like how we sing, they don't play music like how we play music. How do we encourage this worship? And we're working out of a cathedral, like this massive Anglican church in this particular setting. And so this was a song we were like, let's write a song for our people. Like, let's write a song for them. This is about me. Yes, in some ways. Like, I mean, I sing the song and I'm reminded, but like it's okay to be unsteady and sure. Like, it's okay if you're unsteady and unsure. It's okay. Like, if this is like a lot, like it's a lot for you to be like, you know, I find like these anthems are hard to sing sometimes. Like they're beautiful, but it can be challenging to, you know, sing in a group of people, like, you know. So that's where some of that like that came from, and it became this like love song, I feel like, from myself as an artist, and then also my collaborator for our church. And we've had the privilege of singing it a few times. And you're right in that like it is different. And I think that's a testament to also like, yeah, like what can come out as you explore, like, and as God brings you in and out of different spaces, like your songwriting changes, your expression changes, how you can relate to people changes. And so my hope with Holy, we put the 3 Ys mainly because there's so many songs called Holy, and it was like Holy, like I just felt like let's just emphasize, you know. But yeah, it definitely felt special. It felt like super quick to just like cool, like we had like recorded it in like a few weeks. We did it live. It was just like easy, done, great. It just was so effortless. But yeah, it's another kind of one of those like funny God things. You're just like, I didn't realize till after we'd written it. Like I thought there needed to be a song called Holy on this project, but I just hadn't written it. And I was prepared to not have it. It was going to have one less song on the project. But then we just wrote it in time to get a live version out and be like, okay, cool. No, there did need to be a song called Holy, and this is what it needs to be about. And it's not until I stepped into this chapter of ministry that I was able to write it with someone who I needed to write it with, clearly. So yeah, beautiful song, and I've loved singing it with people.
And you sing a lot of it in your falsetto, which is amazing. It's also like, I feel like one of the easiest, no, not easiest, but one of the, like the most used ways, or like most like common ways for a lot of these like hymn type or like congregational type worship songs is to sing in your falsetto, because you, especially in environments like an old cathedral and an old church building, the reverb of that, phenomenal.
Ooh, get that stuff spinning.
Incredible.
Let's spin.
It sounds like the angels are here with us. Like so good. I mean, I think you even put out some content around that, and like people could almost get that same experience watching those clips. So yeah, I really love that song, and I really hope who are able to push it further and give it some love. I know it's not necessarily the same sound as some of the other stuff, but there is something, I think, I'm part of, I'm really passionate about my local church. And I think we're really excited about writing new styles of music, but things like this, like, let's not lose it as a people. And yeah, even just speaking, because that song was part of that bonus album where it's like, Saving Grace to be set apart for ... I'm really intrigued as to why you released the bonus album a few months later. Like, this was November, and I believe Saving Grace was out in the summer before. So it's like, oh wait, Grace, I had more songs to release. What was the kind of reasoning around? And it's like they're basically the same length of songs as well. So what was your reasoning there?
I had it in my head that I was gonna release an EP. And again, it was just, someone was like, you could try Waterfall, like release stuff and kind of mix and match songs. I had it in my head to truly do this. I wanted to release Supernatural, which had like these, it had like, not like, again, songs that for me came out of my personal time with God, but that don't get you to God as like the answer. You know, like they've got these songs where like, I know that God's the answer in the song because I can hear where I was coming from. And I knew the conversations I was having with God and my people at that time. But and that's all. And then the song Supernatural does have some faith language in it. But to start with like an EP that's not Christian necessarily, and then to move to like a blended cross genre where you've kind of got all of a sudden these new Christian songs added to the story of like, what does this look like when we're introducing now God as the final point of these songs? And then it was like, I still had Heart of the Father and Ninth Hour. And I really felt passionate that those songs were part of this chapter. And then also I wanted to finish out with like a record that also felt like the Christian record that we had talked about. Like, it also was like, let me also put together a collection of songs, same songs, but also that do something different. Like, you can listen to this front to back and you're going to see God in every song. You're going to see that story in every story. And I wanted to have that for people because, again, like, my audience is for everybody. The hope is that it's for everybody and that it's accessible enough for everyone. And so, yeah, so to have all kind of three realms present was a reason. And then to be set apart for was because my buddy / priest was like, I had this thing where we had just written Holy, and then I was singing Holy, where someone had sung Holy, a song like about holiness, and then I walked up to him like mid-service. Like, I think he was even preaching that day. And I like just was at the back and was like, dude, what does holiness mean? Like, I came up to him, I was stressed. He was like, what do you mean, Grace? I was like, bro, like, what does it mean? Like, what do you, like, break it down? He's like, literally, like, announcements are being given. He's like, okay. So we had this, like, kind of conversation. He's like, okay, like, I have to go now. Like, but we can keep talking about this. Like, text me, you know what I mean? And, like, but one of the things he said was, like, holiness is idea, like, that you're set apart for. That God makes something holy, but you are setting it apart. Like, that's what we can do. Because my whole thing, right? Again, my perfectionism, my desire to live without any grace at all is like, I want to know how to get there. How do I get there? How do I get to holiness? How do I become holy? How do I know that something's holy? How is something not holy? Is there a way for me to not be holy? What if I'm like away from God? Is that possible? I thought that Jesus came. I thought we have the Holy Spirit. Like, how are we navigating that? Just like to be set apart for, well, no, like the only thing you can really do is to set something apart for God. God is what makes it holy. That's scriptural. We broke it down some more. We had some conversations, but so I was like, cool. So if we're adding holy to this project, then this project is to be set apart for. And I'm to be set apart for it. The saving of me, of Grace Marr, is to be set apart for God. This project is now set apart for God. And it became this, like, to be honest with you, like, I'm working as an indie artist. I'm like, it's a lot. And I got to a place on this project where I was like, Lord, I don't know if this is really what you want. I don't know. But I know that there's something in it. And I know that the idea that I could not rest with not having said that, like, I'm going to do a project that is strictly set apart for you in this intentionality. And that felt like enough for me to go through with it and to go through with a whole other release and a whole other campaign and like another set of visuals and to do the whole thing. I was like, okay. And just to even go through mixing and mastering songs again, recording them again, like, okay, cool, you know? But yeah, so that's kind of how that third project landed. And yeah, he's been really faithful and kind since, and it's been really beautiful.
That's so good. We're definitely running out of time, but I have so much to ask.
I know.
You have a lot of songs to go through, but I will go through one more, and that's
Okay.
because this song I picked is because I gotta know Grace. I need to know what was going on, because we want to know. I know there's a story behind it, but I would love to like peer into your brain and what that story is. And it's gin.
Yes, I had a feeling.
You had I was like, she's gonna know, but let me just say it. It's gin. So this is an interesting song because I think you had released it as a single prior.
Yeah.
I remember listening, so I was listening to as I was writing the questions, and then I was like, and then I like went to the lyrics, and it's one of the songs that you actually have synced on your lyrics on Spotify. So I was like, yeah. So Grace Marr, please tell the people like what's the story of the song, and like I would love to know what some of the responses were like to people, like people were like to you after listening to it.
Yeah, look it. I keep doing this. This is all I have. This is what I have. I am me, and all I can do is hold hands. Like that's it. And so what I will say is I'll start with like. Gin meant a lot to me because at the time I had come out and was still coming out of a very like right and wrong oriented idea of God's love for me. And the stories that I tell are true in it. And I had actually started writing that song with somebody else, and we had written some kind of like other parts to it that weren't as personal to me. So it's, again, another example of a song that like kind of had started trying to form itself, and I had tried to write it like a lot, and then it just flowed together and it came out as it was, and it was like, okay, I didn't change anything to it. But like the stories are true. Like I love my grandma. I love my grandma. She like was like a true story. My cousin was like, Grandma, do you like Grace's new tattoo? My grandma said, like, no. Why would I? I don't know why she's doing that. I'm not gonna lie to her. I don't understand. You know? I had like an ex kind of situation, and like his parents, God bless them, I could see it. The moment that they asked what you do, I was like, well, I sing BGs here sometime at this church that I was starting to get connected to, but I actually write and I sing like in all the downtown bars in Ottawa. And they were like, no. I could see it. And I've heard a lot of that. And internalized a lot of that to a place where I'm like, you know, I get to walk this out. I get to decide what's right and what makes sense for my relationship with God. This is personal faith. This is as much like, yeah, we can have conversations with each other, and like be there for each other. But I think like the transparency of communicating like what's going on in your heart and these things that might seem taboo. I'm like, right. But like it's crazy. Like I like one of the lines is skinny dipping, right? And like, I'm like, are we not born naked? Like, I'm so confused as to why. I'm so confused. Like, to me, it's just like the logicalness. Like it's up here, guys. Like now, if you're doing things for not good reasons, don't do things for not good reasons. Don't do that. Like, but like, I'm like, I thought the whole thing was like the first moment of shame is like covering up our bodies. Again, like, I'm not saying go skinny dipping because you're trying to like show off your this, that, and the other. You've been at the gym. Like, don't do that. That's unnecessary. That's vanity. That's different. But it was funny to me that I was like, you hear all these things that are like so taboo, yet I'm experiencing like, I have experienced more freedom and more acceptance doing some of these things that like would not be accepted by the vast majority of Christian community. But I felt at times more free than I have in my own faith. And that is not okay. And it's like, it's a bit of like a brain teaser, that song. Cause my whole thing is like, I'm not telling you necessarily even what I believe. I'm just asking you what you believe and why. You know? Like, I don't know. I love, like, we've got a spot up here that does church on tap. So after church at night on Friday nights, they pull in the drinks and we all have a little bevy and some snacks and we hang. And like, I think you're seeing that maybe more popularized, at least here, like I'm seeing it in Toronto more popularized. Not to promote drinking, gosh, but because people are going home and doing this anyways but then they're afraid to what? Be in communion with one another over the shared commonalities of how we live our lives and have conversations and maybe even be more transparent. So yeah, that's kind of like some of the gin. I feel like, again, it's a song that you could go into a lot of detail about. Yeah. And then the responses, let me tell you, my parents didn't think it was a good idea. They were like, this is already hard. This is already hard. What you're doing is really hard. Why would you make it harder? And then I did a show and it was a secular audience. And I think I did Saving Grace or like Self-Care, and I did Gin. So to get from my secular songs to my sacred songs, I put Gin in the middle. And I'm like, hey, so here's the thing. I am a Christian. Oh, don't be scared. It's okay. I'm holding your hand. I'm with you. And then I say, like, you know, this is a song that I hopefully, even if you don't relate to maybe what my experiences have been in religion, you might understand what it's like to not feel accepted and not feel like you belong. Maybe you have some church hurt and some issues there. Let's come and find me. Sing Gin. The way that people came up to me and my parents saw, be like, I want to talk about Gin, because I've had some like really bad religious stuff that have like really hurt me. And like, they're looking, I'm like, yeah, like I get it. Like it makes me emotional because I'm like, it's a song that like can really rub people the wrong way, but it's also been the gateway to so much fruit and conversation. And like the Christians who are super theologically like or I shouldn't say like let me say this, Christian leaders that I have really admired and that are in my life who are very theologically sound have kind of on the DL been like, this is my favorite song because it makes us think and do double takes as to why we're different and why people are really pushed out from our communities and how we can bring them in. So again, it might not be for you, and that's okay. But my parents got to see the fruit of why sticking your neck out and saying some things that could be controversial or hard to hear can bring the people that really like need that love back in to be like, oh, like here's a Christian who's not going to hate me or tell me off when they don't know me. Like, why would I tell anybody off? That's crazy. I don't know you. I don't know you. Are you nice to your friends? Great. Just don't be mean. Like, I don't know. Like, yeah. So anyway, but feel free to follow up. Like I feel like I talked a lot and touched on as many things as I could with that song, but yeah, it's definitely had a story for sure.
And you could definitely tell, I think, listening to it from verse to chorus, is Gin the one that had the spoken word piece? Yeah.
Got it. Yeah. I was like, let me not forget about Heather B. Mish.
Yeah.
Absolutely gem of a human being, another Torontonian, just like crushed it. Absolute legend. Like, I've had the privilege of working with her and just, yeah, she's gorgeous. Love her.
Yeah, I remember that. See, proof I did actually listen.
I love her.
I don't know, I'm like proving you believed me.
Like, no, you knew the song to talk about. You had it. I know you listened to it because I was like, that's how you know.
I'm like second guessing myself. But no, I think, yeah, you could tell there was a story there. I think what you said earlier about some of your earlier songs, specifically on the EP, almost asking questions and questioning with a faith tinge, but Saving Grace the bonus album were those answers. I think that was my thing. So I listened backwards. So I think by the time I got to Gin, I was like, wait, but she knows the answers to these. Wait, yeah. But I think if you listen the other way around, you would hear you finding those answers, if that makes sense. And I think, yeah, it's just in that moment, I don't know if I got it straight away because of the order I listened to it and because I didn't know, like talking to you now, I know the story and I know, like, I think listening to things like Holy and Saving Grace first, I wouldn't know you weren't in the church and you weren't, you know, up there singing worship songs at age 2.5 months, you know, I just wouldn't know that. So I think I would be surprised to have, I mean, not even a surprise to have that person release Gin. I think I was just not understanding where that fitted in, but hearing where and why, I'm like, yeah.
Well, and also like, let me too, again, this is like, you look at, I'll say this and you can feel free to edit this out if you need to, but like, you know, the church is so diverse, especially like Toronto is the most multicultural city in the world as far as the last time that I checked. At one point we had the most different languages spoken per capita, and I love it here. Like, I love it. It's like, it's my people. I have found my home in that diversity as a Christian, and in places and spaces where I really did feel like I couldn't belong. Weed is legal here. Like, it's not a taboo thing. And I mean, and in some Christian circles, yes, still, like, obviously, but like the diversity of perspective all over the world of our faith is so unique. Like, I think it's like, to judge anybody who loves Jesus without knowing where they're coming from is ultimately going to not get your conversation on the right foot, you know? Because it's like, you come to somebody here who like has a completely different worldview than someone in another spot. And what, we're gonna meet in the middle and say like, you're wrong and I'm right, or I'm right and you're like, whatever it is, it's like, that's not it. That's not what I saw Jesus doing. I saw him breaking bread with people and having conversations and like listening and like, and yeah, standing on some truth, but like, but also doing it with like, what's actually true, and what are the big things that I'm gonna stand on, you know? Some of these little things, I'm just like, yo, like, why are we making a big fuss? Like, I don't get it. Like, Jesus like is so overwhelmingly amazing, and we're gonna take a break from that for what? I don't get it. And those personal relationships are where those intimate conversations can happen, but yeah, I think it also, like, this song to me too, sure, you're saying, like, highlights the diversity of Christians and like kind of gives you that like, hey, there's a lot of us, there's a lot of people out here walking the same walk, and we all have a different stride. Like, let's not jump to conclusions, let's not jump ahead or judge or whatever what people's strides are looking like. Someone's skipping down the street and you're walking, doing one of those ugly looking fast walks, and another one is walking slow because they're just taking in the scenery. Let's just walk towards Christ and let it freaking be, you know? Like, that's my so
that's your mic drop moment.
That's my mic drop. I don't know, but yeah.
And I love that you do have a song that you can play in those like quote unquote secular spaces that relates. And I think if you didn't release that, you wouldn't have that. Even if you'd written, I mean, yes, I guess you could have not released it, but I think there is some power there. And I love that you have the power over that. And I love what you said. There's so much to go into, but we're gonna go to the last question. Grace, last question.
Let's go. Okay.
Yeah, like I said, 2024 was a great year for you. And as at the time of filming, we're just a couple months into 2025. I'd love to hear what you have coming up, what you're excited for. It looks like you're not slowing down. So share with the girls what's going on in your life.
Oh man, what's going on in my life? I'm super excited to be writing a lot, songwriting a lot. I'm going to be doing a couple shows here in Canada, so Toronto, Montreal, Ottawa. And then we're going to be, we're releasing new music. Like, that's kind of like what it is. It's like, got like a new kind of, I think I'm really stepping into this, also now walking out like what relationships look like, romantic relationships, friendships look like, with, again, like this idea of like, I feel like Saving Grace was like the wrestling of my experiences, my worlds, my feelings, and then like my faith. And I'm like, this I think is like now coming into like what relationships look like, what love looks like, love of God, like where I fit into all of that, my feelings. So I'm like super, super stoked. for some of these songs to come out, for what they're going to look like. And then just like writing a lot, like writing, demoing, playing shows. Yeah, I'm really, really stoked for like the rest of this year.
So we should definitely keep up to date with your Instagram and
yes, please keep up to date with the Instagram, Grace Marr Music, because that's gonna give you like all the info. That's gonna give you all the dates when you come and see it live, and also like all the songs that'll drop with all these other artists. Maybe like I'll be, in those credits we talked about. You can come find me in the credits, and then also obviously my own stuff. I'll keep rocking my thing, and God willing, and doing some of this hand holding we keep talking about. Yeah.
Amen to that. Well, thank you so much, Grace, for your time. Thank you for being vulnerable. Thank you for sharing your heart. Thank you for caring to share your heart as well. Thank you for sharing the music, for being consistent. I'm excited for the next 5 years to come. And thank you also for supporting SheHH. Like, you were so down to be here. Like, I'm really grateful.
I'm so supportive. Like, I loved it. We followed each other for like a minute. So like, to be able to like really connect and like have a conversation, and you've got such a dope lineup of people. Like, I like literally, I've gone back and been listening, and like, I'm like, yo, this is stupid. Like, my name does not belong on this list of names. I'm like, just go.
Don't do that. No,
but it's true. You're just like, what? Like, just keep going, guys. Like, no, but seriously, like, I've loved to be just being considered in such an incredible lineup of dope women who worship, and obviously you, a woman who worships, is incredible. So thank you for having me.
Hi guys, I hope you enjoyed that episode of the SheHH podcast. If you did, please leave a like rating, comment down below, and share this episode with a friend. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok at SheHH Podcast.